Arch Manning and the Texas Longhorns head to the swamp to face DJ Lagway and Florida. This quarterback matchup has a way different feel to it than was expected just about, a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month. Arch Manning, the early struggles in the season before he has a much better performance against Sam Houston. And then DJ Lagway just has not found any bit of confidence, hasn't found his footing a couple of weeks ago against Miami, a very tough outing the week before that against LSU. He just needs to establish himself earlier in a football game. And as a coach, it's about getting your guy completions. The problem is facing a defense like Texas, who I think is a top 3 unit in college football. I would say Texas, Ohio State, and Miami are the top 3 in my opinion. No shade to the Florida Gators, who did all they could. And that's where I really want to dig into some of the details here, is the way Florida played through 50 minutes of that game against Miami showed me the true character of these guys under Billy Napier, that they really fight to the end, that they gave it their all on the defensive side of the ball, down a superstar like Caleb Banks, a quarterback that had not been able to move the football, and yet they're in a one-score game against a team a lot are considering the best in college football on the road in a tough environment, sloppy, the rain coming down, that crowd going nuts, psycho mode as Cristobal was calling it, but they were fighting to the end. That gives me a little bit of an inclination that this game will be closer than what is currently being expected, that Texas will continue up the Stairmaster a little bit and stay up there, jump off that thing and get on an actual staircase and find their way towards the top of the SEC in a couple of weeks. You cannot overlook that Florida defense still. They might be down a couple of starters. There's still a whole lot of culture on that side of the ball. Now, Florida can run the football. They've been able to do it the whole season. Jaden Baugh, right around 6 yards a carry on the year. He did a decent job enough against Miami, against LSU. It's just the game got away from them in a sense that it was like, we're looking at 2nd and 7 the entire day. There's no balance because there's no threat of the downfield passing game. They're not respecting that. What happens? The corners start to come up. The linebackers aren't really respecting the play action fakes. The safeties walk up, and now you can't run the football. That's where Jaden Baugh and DJ Lagway have not been able to have the success we thought they would, in the sense of being able to break the big runs, or Lagway being as explosive as a runner. And against Texas, this is arguably the most talented defense they will face. There was all the talk about Ruben Bain, but Colin, Simmons, Trey Moore, Anthony Hill Jr. in the middle of that thing. These are laden NFL players throughout that. Malik Muhammad, he's playing at a high level. Littleton, Michael Taft. We're talking about easily the most star power in the sense of names. On paper, you write down a defense, and it's like, yeah, this is probably one of the best in college football, and they've played just about exactly like that through the first 4 games of their season against Florida. Perfect opportunity to start a bit of momentum, get that SEC win, to build confidence for their program. The only question mark, which is wild, is that Arch Manning has not had that performance where the Texas fans have a full exhale. I know beating Sam Houston 55-0 helps, but you're still concerned. I guarantee it about Florida. A game on the road, a talented football team. I still believe that this is a top 30 team in the country, despite any bit of the lack of confidence, despite DJ Lagway's struggles. They just have not found a consistent target for DJ to get the football to downfield. The passing game, having a guy that separates for him often. Ronell Brown and Hayden Hansen have been the main targets. Where have they been on 3rd down? Where's the ability for him to get the football to them on 3rd down? He's been trying to do too much. You could argue he should have thrown the football away a lot of times this season on some of the interceptions, and he's made bad decisions. It's not all on him. It's on the offensive line, and it's also on your wide receivers having to create separation. Who knows how much separation they're going to get this week against Texas. My immediate lean is for the Texas Longhorns, pulling off a win on the road in a tough environment in the swamp. A 1-3 Florida team, this doesn't quite have the same sizzle it would, let's say, a Florida had pulled off that win against USF, or if they didn't lose to LSU and they were 2-2 in this one and still had a bit of faith that they could make a run and be competitive. Being 1-3, it's not a night game, it's an afternoon game. These are all factors that make me believe that Texas really has a great shot to go in there and get a decisive win against them. Now, Texas's run game, completely different. We were coming into the year, Trey Wisner, CJ Baxter, these are the main two guys. Arch Manning's legs. Now, with some of the injuries, it's thrown a little bit of a wrench into it. And then also, with the lack of a downfield consistent passing game. Overall, I know what they did last week, but overall, on the picture, teams haven't really needed to respect Ryan Wingo on the outside, a guy that I thought could be in the conversation for the Biletnikoff Award, not even remotely in the stratosphere as far as what would be needed for a quarterback to wide receiver combination. Parker Livingston, he's been that guy. He had that beautiful catch against the Buckeyes, and that's honestly, in my opinion, maybe the best play of the year for them so far. And they frankly had a shot at the end of that game with the chance, despite how poorly they played. So I'm going to talk about that defense because they kept them in the game the same way that Florida kept them in the game against Miami a week ago. The way that they kept them in the game against LSU, which looks a little bit worse now after LSU's loss to Ole Miss. This Texas defense can create threats for you in so many different ways with the different looks that they will give up front, with the sheer athletes that they have. You have an edge player in Colin Simmons that is truly a freak in his ability. He's got to develop a little bit more as a run defender and being an every down type guy. That'll come as he gets stronger and more so develops into his body. Still a very young player, being just a true sophomore. That'll come a bit more. If I'm Florida, that's an opportunity. Do we run Jaden Baugh right at that? DJ Lagway, do you give him carries knowing that Anthony Hill Jr., probably the best inside backer in college football for your money at this stage, you'd have to say? Are you going to give him a couple of opportunities for one-on-ones to expect him to try and make it happen? I don't know how much success you'll have because Anthony Hill Jr. is just that type of weapon for a defense to have. I've compared him to Brian Urlacher. He's always around the football, has a knack, a nose to make big plays. He can rush the passer. He can drop back into coverage perfectly, and he's a pretty darn good run defender as well as a sure-handed tackler. All of those combinations of things make up what you can believe can be a guy that can win the Butkus Award and be the best linebacker in college football. I believe that he is well on his way to doing that. But the Texas secondary, once again, like, this is a unit not getting enough credit. A good amount of the media just wants to spin narrative angles and talk about both of these teams and down talk that their offense is and how poor that they have been. I'm a positive guy. Let me know down below in the comments if you like to hear positivity, even if you're a Florida team 1-3. I've been impressed with the defense. Sometimes you have to step up in a major way, stick your chest out and say, yeah, we got your back. All right, DJ, third pick, fourth pick, fifth pick, still a two-score football game, having his back. That Texas team the entire season has had Arch Manning's back every snap, every step of the way. When they've needed to come up with the stop, they've pretty much been able to do that, and that's what I'm expecting against Florida. Believe that they just have too much going on the defensive side of the football, that Florida, as of right now, doesn't really have anything on tape to show you they're going to threaten Texas with. Is it the run game? Is it DJ Lagway's legs? Is it a vertical threat taking the top of this thing so that Texas is threatened by anything going over them? It just hasn't showed up. So based off of the results that we've so far seen on the season, I'm going to say that Texas wins this game by a score of 27-19. I believe it's a pretty close game that Florida is able to keep themselves in it with a good defensive effort to keep Texas under 30, but ultimately believe that Texas is too much, gaining a little bit of rhythm. Arch Manning will flash some ability. They'll run the football well enough, maybe a bit with Arch's legs, to be able to pull out a nice win on the road before they have Red River coming up the following week, and it looks like that's not against John Napier. So that's a little bit tough as big college football fans not being able to see him. And then, of course, Florida will have that road game at College Station against A&M coming up here soon. So Texas gets the win on the road. Let me know down below in the comments what you think. Do you agree? Disagree? Is it DJ Lagway? Is this the game that they're amazing, or is the defense good enough to really cause Arch to stress in the pocket and turn the football enough for them to pull out a win, which would be devastating towards Texas right now? Florida, they're just in a position to go out there, win an SEC game. Win it for your coach. How about that? So I appreciate you so much for watching. Please subscribe for more videos in the future. I make college NFL content every day. So I appreciate you for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Best player in college football.
That Georgia and Ohio State game, New Year's Eve, is going to be a classic.
Josh Blunder. Hi, everybody. I'm Josh Blunder.
To the 40, 35, 30, Espinosa to the 20.